LinkedIn. Right, we are live.
Oh my
Hello,
gosh.
welcome everyone. Whilst I'm just welcoming you in, I'm also going to make sure that we are live on Instagram. Right, it's saying we are live, so fingers crossed, and hopefully it is live on LinkedIn and Instagram. If anyone is in the room already, do let us know, and we would love to see that you can see us. Right, welcome everybody. So this is Being Your Brand live series, and basically what this conversation is about, it's not so much about the journey of a founder and how they've got here. It's more about the being behind the brand, because behind every business, behind every brand is a person who's leading it. Be it whether you want to call that personal brand, an identity is there, making decisions, leading, navigating business, brand opportunities, challenges, all of those things. And I've been speaking with a variety of different visionary founders in this Being Your Brand series, because I just felt like there's an importance of bringing this side of the conversation and, really delving deeper into, well, who have you had to become in order to get the successes, the achievements that you have had to date as a visionary founder. So I'm Aarti Parmar. I am a certified brand strategist and a coach, and I work with, I call them legacy-minded founders on their business and personal brand alignment, positioning, strategy, and narrative, so they can go out and make a bigger ripple effect with what they do and who they are. Now, what I'm really excited to do here is introduce our guest. I've got a bit of a bio so I don't miss anything out. So here goes. Right, so she did not set out to be an entrepreneur or an influencer. She set out to be helpful. Everything else followed. I am absolutely delighted to announce that my next guest here is Zamiha Desai MBE. Congratulations on that. That just happened last year, didn't it?
It did, yeah, thank you.
Amazing, amazing. And actually, a little side story on that, not side story, but who would have thought, right? Well, actually, not who would have thought. When I met you 10 years ago in Purple Flame, we were having a bit of a chit chat, and, and now here you are, MBE. Amazing.
Yeah,
Brilliant.
who would have thought? I agree with you.
But it's just fantastic. Right. Founder of RecommendAsian, ProfessionalAsian, co-founder of Luxurist Magazine, and creator of the Hey Gorgeous shopping and lifestyle events. Zamiha has built one of the UK's most influential British Asian community ecosystems, collectively reaching over 170,000 people. That's just phenomenal.
And another, who would have thought?
I know, right? And this is the bit, right? It began with simple Facebook posts sharing a sorry pleating tip, which has evolved into powerful spaces holding conversations around business, beauty, grief, fertility, mental health, money, ambition, and identity. Community builder, champion of small businesses, a force for connection. Welcome. How do you feel when I read that out, coming back to the conversation we had 10 years ago, and you were just telling me, yeah, I've got this, little Facebook community. Hey, Babbitt.
I feel like, oh, is that me? I feel like, is this like a marketing spin on me? Because, I think, like if you watch like your children or nieces and nephews grow up and you see them really frequently, you don't notice how big they get. And I think it's been the same with the communities. Like it's literally every day, I'm on them, I'm in them, I'm looking at them, I'm strategizing about them, I'm doing so much stuff. It's literally my life. It's like my child.
Yeah.
And so I haven't noticed how big they've got in terms of, I can see the numbers obviously, but I think I've just grown with it. So it's like when you look at it from the outside, it's a bit, I can understand that it's like a bit wow, but when you're on the inside of it, it's like, well, this is what I do, and this is you know, people need this and they're joining it because they need it. So yeah, I look at it a little bit differently from the inside. So it always feels a bit like, oh my God.
Well, congratulations on it all. And what I'd like to actually do is delve in more onto the inside part of it, because, you know, having a community of what started with how many people?
200.
Yeah, a few hundred.
219
Wow,
to be
right.
exact.
219, and it growing into, you know, 170,000 plus. Who have you had to become along the way as an individual to hold that kind of, I guess, responsibility, identity, yeah, you know, just hold that kind of evolution as well?
Yeah, I think as like obviously everybody evolves. Like I'm not the same person now.
Mm,
I'm 53. I was very different at 23, very different at 33. I think everybody changes and becomes over time based on people around you, the things that you're doing, you know, where you're working, so many external factors of the things that happen to you.
mm,
Um, and so I think, I mean, I like to think I'm still me. And in respect to the community, I think obviously I've had to listen and
mm,
watch and mediate, but I don't think it's anything that wasn't already inside me anyway. I
right,
think, you know, I was in corporate for a number of years before,
right.
and I think, you know, when you do like those Myers-Briggs tests and stuff,
Mm,
I
mm,
was I was like a people pleaser, you know, that kind of ilk
yeah,
of team. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that. But at the time I did, I was like, oh, you know, I don't want to be that. I want to be that high level strategy thinking red person. And instead I'm like this kind of blue, caught up in the processes, boring stuff. Like I didn't even want to be who I was.
mm,
Um, but I think actually that with this community and when you're, you know, looking at a community, I think it's like a really big strength because I think it makes you kind of listen and watch and observe and see what's going where. And I think maybe the biggest thing I've had to learn is the boundaries, because before I didn't really have any boundaries. I just want to do everything for everybody.
mm,
You know, recommendation is a women's space. Professional Asian is a mixed space. And I think you have to kind of know what's acceptable to talk about and not talk about and be like a moderator, not a censor,
mm,
you know. And so I think I just had to kind of figure out like where is this boundary? Where does the fuzzy line come? And, you know, people want stuff all the time. And sometimes you get a little bit of pushback, you know,
mm,
especially with anonymous posts. I don't want people to know and all that kind of stuff.
yeah, yeah,
And I think it's again dealing with the kind of pushback, because before I'd be like, oh yeah, of course, you know, I want to help you, I want to help you, and I still genuinely want to help
yeah,
people, but I have to look at the individual. Then you have to look at the whole community, and I'm sure that if a community had like 300 anon posts, it wouldn't be a very interesting community anymore. What makes it interesting is
mm,
the people.
yeah, yeah,
And so I guess it's just me inside learning just to do that boundary setting
yeah.
and to, yeah, mediate.
Yeah, and I'd love to actually go into that around the boundaries because, you know, as entrepreneurs, as founders, business owners, it is really important to have those boundaries for more sort of effective leadership, you know, in that sense. How have you learnt to put those boundaries in? You know, what habits or tips do you have about creating boundaries for yourself?
I think you make a lot of mistakes and you,
Yeah.
and you just learn from them.
Mm,
I think we're so obsessed with fear of failing that we don't try anything. But
mm,
actually, you need to try stuff. And if it fails, it fails. It's a lesson, you
mm,
know. So I was very reactive at the beginning, and I still am in some ways. Like when if people wanted stuff, then I
mhm,
would try and accommodate it. So I would react to what they want. And
right.
I think I had to and I still listen to what people want. And if I can tweak things and make things happen, I will. But I guess it's switching to be kind of a bit proactive that, okay, this is what we need to do as business owners to protect our space. And everyone's different. That's the other thing. There's no like formula. Everyone has different situations. Everyone has different family dynamics. Now I try and spend a bit more time with the kids, but they're like grown up, so they don't really want to see me that much. And I think, you know, in the early days, I probably didn't spend as much time as I ought to have with them. And I think that, and then you learn, right? People point things out to you, or you know, you kind of realize that maybe they need a little bit more support in one area and another, and you just adapt, but you learn and adapt. And like I said, it's quite hard for me to even figure out, because I've not really thought about it, because like I said at the beginning, you grow with something, and so you're always, you know, adapting and finding things out about yourself and about where your boundaries are. And I found it very hard to say no a lot of the time. But now, you know, and we've grown up with, oh, you know, customer is king. The customer is always right. You know, and that's not really always possible, because you could put yourself into a hole, like just trying to service like the more demanding and unreasonable customers. So you have to figure out that what's the upshot of me, you know, changing things or trying to accommodate or adapt and stuff like that. And it's hard because you feel like sometimes you're a bit mean, and I don't want to be a mean person. I want to help people where I can, but now I have a team to protect. You know, I have to pay HMRC. You know, I've got tools that, you know, require subscriptions. There's outgoings. There's a lot more outgoings now. So you have to just adapt and say, all right, this is what I can afford to do. This is what I can't afford to do, be it money, time, resources, yourself.
Yeah. And I guess there's sometimes quite a thin line between sort of, you know, sorry to use this term, but, you know, pissing people off and doing the right thing for the community, for yourself, for the team. How do you navigate that? And by the way, I'm asking this also because, you know, I am part of these communities, and sometimes the things that I see coming up, and I'm like, wow, that's quite a difficult one to navigate. And I see that, you know, you do it really, really well. So yeah, you know, share with us what goes on behind the scenes for you to be able to be like, you know, I can't just let this pass by, but yet still be tactful and, you know, all of those things. What goes on for you?
For me, I have to put myself in their situation and look at it from there. Because I know that if somebody's got a problem, and sometimes I do understand why they, you know, don't want to share, or they're being the way they are, or sometimes you have to make assumptions. But I think everybody has a story. Everybody has battles that they fought in their life. Everybody has a perspective on things, and nobody's perspective is the same. And so I literally have to think, you know, what could their perspective be? You know, maybe they've had a hard time with, you know, growing up. Maybe they've had bad relationships. Maybe they've, you know, lived with a narcissist. Maybe they are a narcissist. You know, it's not always poor them. It could be like such a big combination of factors. And I just have to be as diplomatic as I can. And sometimes I piss people off. And it's never intentional. I think it's because they're coming from a different space that I'm coming from, and you can't anticipate everything. And you never know when people have a bad day. And it's always like, my son's just passed his driving test, and he's just the biggest, like, oh my God, what an idiot on the road. And like, he's all that kind of like, you know, young boys, and they're like, you know, everything. And like, and I'm like, you know, you don't know what that person's going through. You don't know if they're rushing to hospital. right?
Yeah.
And I've been there. I had to rush to hospital, and like you don't care so much, you know.
Mm.
You don't know if they're having a bad day. You don't know if they are an idiot and they're just driving like erratically. But you don't know, and so you put all this energy into, you know, being angry at someone. I think if you just approach it from like a place of love, that, you know, this person might need something,
Mm.
and let's try and accommodate as best we can, but sticking within your boundaries, because you also need to fill your cup too, right? You can't give everything away. And so it's just, that's how I kind of look at everybody. And I think I try and look at everybody as an individual as well. They're somebody, they're not just this big mass community and this
Mm.
sea of nameless faces. They're people that are dealing with something and they need some help somewhere. And if
Mm.
we can help behind the scenes, then we do. If we can ask them to rephrase things, then
Right.
we do. If we can do anything to kind of make the situation a little bit more comfortable for them, but still within the rules of our group and stuff, then we'll do that. But yeah, we have to remember that everyone's individual.
Yeah, beautiful. And talking about protecting, you know, as a leader of a community of 170,000, how do you protect your own energy?
I don't know if I do it very well, because I kind of a little bit of an empath and I do get drawn into things.
Yeah, yeah, and we're human.
Um,
Yeah.
yeah. And I don't see myself like as a leader like that either. Like, I'm not taking this community and like being kind of, you know, taking them on a journey. I'm a facilitator in their lives.
Mm-hmm,
You
mm-hmm,
know, that, and it's not even through me personally, it's through themselves that they're making their own changes in their lives by helping each other. You
mm,
know, and that's, in terms of leadership, I think that's what I try and do, is do that kind of, keep the vibe, you know, make sure everybody's, you know, being nice to each other, and you know, batting back when I need to. So
mm,
I'm not kind of up there telling them what to do. I'm almost at the bottom saying, okay, you know, you guys need to help each other. And I
mm,
don't even need to say it, because that's what they do. Because the nature of a lot of the people on Professional Asian and RecommendAsian is like, let's help where we can.
yeah,
Let's guide you to the right person for what you need doing. Let's give you the right advice. Let me give you what happened to me in the same situation. If,
mm,
you know,
yeah,
they're going through something at home, or, you know, a mental health issue or a domestic issue or whatever, people are very happy to help. And that I'm really, like, I'm proud of them. And I
mm,
don't feel like it's me. I feel like I'm proud of them, because they're really there to help each other. So I'm just there to kind of
yeah.
make that possible
Yeah, and
within
I love,
the
you know,
rules.
I love your humbleness, but however, I do also want you to know and recognize it is shaped by you, because if it wasn't you running this community and it was somebody else, it could have taken a whole different route, or may have even closed down by now, because there's a lot to take on in that sense. So yeah, you know, I really feel like it's part of your own values and what's important to you, and therefore it is shaped in the way that it is, which then has that ripple effect of an essence of you wanting to, you know, you help and also they help each other.
Yeah,
um
thank
so yeah, I
you.
just wanted to reflect that, because I think it's important to know and own that greatness that not everybody, you know, does want to do as well. You know, if you go out on the road and say, do you want to manage a community of 170,000? I don't actually know how many people will be, yeah, absolutely. And the thing is, you know, yours isn't even like it's one specific topic or area of niche. We've, you know, I said it earlier, you've got a whole variety from business, mental health to, you know, relationships and everything else that ranges in between that. So, you know, hats off to you. And I want to actually lean into achievements, you know, how as you know, as business owners, as founders, we get a taste of both, right? We have and enjoy great achievements, and then there are also challenges that comes, be it in life, be it in business. that kind of thing. How do you anchor your vision and mission when you've had wonderful achievements? For example, getting your MBE, and do share some of your other maybe examples of achievements that you've had.
I, yeah, I think a lot of it is my team and the people around me. They anchor me, and I think I lean on them for opinions and advice. And if I have a strategy in mind, I do pass it by everybody and like, what do you think of this? Do you think this would work? I'm not kind of alone in this. Like we're such a strong team. We've got such a strong bond, and I think with that a lot of them have been with me since day dot, actually.
Yeah,
And so,
yeah,
and I think we're all very like-minded in that we want to help and we want to make things better. And even with Hey Gorgeous, Persh's my business partner there, we're very like-minded, but we have a completely different skill set, so the balance is really good. Same with Anisha with Luxurist. We know what we want to do. We both have the same vision,
yeah.
but we both have a different network, a different skill set, and a very different way of working as well. And I think I've just been really fortunate to find good balances. And it's and so many people try to go it alone. So many entrepreneurs. I have to do this by myself. I can't pass it by anybody, or they pass it by the wrong people. So I don't ask my family about anything to do with business because they don't get it, and I don't expect them to, because that's not.
Yeah, and the thing is, I am if you haven't been in business, whether it's friends, family, that if you haven't been in business, you just won't understand the journey, and that's fine, and it's like with anything, right? If you haven't gone through it yourself, you're not going to fully understand what another person is going through.
Yeah, and so I think that's a good thing about a network, like a network of people. I mean, I'm lucky that Professional Asian and RecommendAsian pretty much our network. So I have good people around me that are business people that kind of understand my journey and understand how everything works. We also have things like, BNI or Founders Club, or, different kind of networking circles and sacred circles. And, like Gajinda does that sacred circle with the cacao and everything. And it's like, they're like-minded people, that are very soul-led, whereas, other networking groups are very business-led. But I think, you find your tribe out, and they're people that you can also lean on. And so I think it's really important that founders and entrepreneurs do have, like, whether it's a mastermind, whether it's a networking group, but people that they see regularly, that you can bounce things off, because I think it's a very lonely place. And I think that's why we do our networking events. So I do Professional Asian and RecommendAsian networking events. And then I do a free networking event every month just for female entrepreneurs, because they build relationships, they work together. They might not buy from each other, but they can collaborate, or they can brainstorm, or they can just figure out how to move forward. And I think that's so important to me.
And
Like,
it's
I
that
don't
element of being
see.
seen as well, isn't it, in that sense?
Yeah.
Somebody's in the same boat as I am.
Yeah. So I don't see myself as like alone and like having to anchor and like that everything forward. I see myself in actually many different situations with many different types of people that I can help and that can help me. And I think that's the way that I need to be as a solo, as a, as a business owner.
Yeah, and it probably kind of partly answers my next question, because anchoring in also when you're achieving and doing things, but then also the other side of it, which is reality in business. There's also the challenges, challenges in the business, challenges, in your own sort of personal life. And I know, like, your husband passed away 3 years ago, 3 years ago now. And personally, for me, I was just like, so in like I loved how, and I know it's not for everyone and that kind of thing, but I really saw you, you know, showing up absolutely in full authenticity and sharing what you were going through, you know, still showing up in your business, and navigating all of that. So coming back to, you know, even in anchoring in challenging times for you as an individual, how was that experience?
I think, you know, life throws you curveballs all the time. And, you know, you kind of, I guess with me, I just kind of have to roll with the punches because what else can you do? Like life goes on. You know, I still had 2 kids to look after, so I had to keep a house, like a, you know, roof over our heads and food on the table and stuff like that. So I had no choice but to just carry on. But I think this is where my religion and my beliefs come in
Right.
heavily because, you know, I really believe that you should sit in gratitude for whatever you have.
100%.
And, you know, it's something from the religion, obviously, but it's also something that I think having Professional Asian recommendation, and you know, you see all the woo-woo people and you're like, oh, that's so woo. But there's actually there's a lot of power in the woo. And I when I started, I was never like a woo-woo person. I was very practical and stuff. And I think woo-woo's grown on me. I'm kind of woo. No, I'm not quite woo.
You're owning woo, basically.
I'm owning a little bit of the woo. But I think the gratitude element of woo is probably the most powerful thing in the whole world. Because when you sit and you look at what you need to give thanks for and what you should be giving thanks for and what great things have happened to you, even in the midst of the most traumatic things that can ever happen to you, it makes you stop and it makes you realize that with Sham, I would rather have been with him for like a dozen years than not have had him in my life at all. Right?
No.
And I think you can sit there and say, why was he taken from me? Why was he taken from me? Well, why was he given to me? Right? What he did for me, he allowed me to really pursue like Professional Asian as business. Because the first year it was like a community thing, and it was taking so much of my time, right? And I was working at the same time, and I was like literally like on my phone at like traffic lights. I shouldn't really say that, should I? I don't know if it was like illegal 10 years ago. I don't know if it was illegal 10 years ago.
Just don't do it anymore.
Always checking, like, you know, what posts are coming through, what people are coming through. Do I approve this? Do I approve that? You know, all that kind of stuff. And it was taking up a lot of time, and I knew there was something there. And he's like, just leave work, try it for 6 months. If it doesn't work, go back. You know, I was like project office. It's easy to pick up work back then. So so he helped me so much, and you know what he gave to me was, you know, a business that allowed me to provide even without him. And the other thing he did for him, you know, and it benefited him as well because he was in hospital a lot. And so I could literally do my work on my phone. I can send invoices on my phone. I can manage the groups from my phone. I can have conversations. I can talk to clients and, you know, do my sales. I could do everything on my phone. And so I could take him to hospital. I could sit there with his appointment went on for 4 hours. It was fine. It didn't have any impact on me or my work. Because, you know, it was all manageable, you know, because he gave me this opportunity to be able to try and create something. And because of what's created, I just look at how many people are benefiting every day. Yeah. I mean, it's changed people's businesses. Like ProfessionalAsian has made, you know, people sell out of their stock. It's allowed them to, you know, one guy said to me, my 5-year plan I've achieved in 18 months because of
Brilliant.
you know, people have opened shops and they're like, oh, wouldn't you put, you know, ProfessionalAsian put me on the map. I wouldn't have been able to do this without you. So it's literally changed businesses' lives. And on the other hand, it's changed people's lives as well, because it might seem small, but you know, they might, you know, when people get married, they get their caterer from ProfessionalAsian, they get their mehndi artist from there, their makeup artist from, like, they, you know, they can coordinate their whole wedding just on their Facebook group if they wanted to. You know, they might have got a new eyebrow threading lady, and you know, had
Yeah, I've seen it all. I've seen
look amazing. You know, it's small, but when you've got good eyebrows, man, the world's your oyster. I'm sorry, it is important. So, I mean, I think it's made such a difference for people on it. And I know, like, Seema Danak deals with a lot of the domestic violence posts we have, and we don't post a lot of them. There's a few people that are feeling suicidal. They're, you know, they're going through some mental health issues. They're going through DV. Like, we don't post them, but we get them help in the background. And so Seema, Amit helped somebody out lately as well. And it's just like, that's a big shift in your life, right? And so how can I be anything but grateful for this man that I know is no longer with me, but has not only enabled me to, you know, to have a different kind of life, but through that enabled so many other people to just change their lives. Like, he was the only reason I could do this. So you have to always remember that through every traumatic time, there's a lesson, there's something to be grateful for, there's, you know, things you can think about. And I think Sham introduced us, did he not, Aarti?
I'm not sure, was it?
Yeah, he told me to come into Purple Flame and meet you. We didn't talk, I don't think, until he...
But we would have set up the meeting somehow.
I think through Sham.
Was it through Sham?
I think
or was
so.
it through that Women Empowered one? Did we meet there? I can't remember where we met, but I remember coming to Purple Flame.
So we were, so I mean, like, you know, there's so many ways that he's just like...
Yeah, beautiful. You know, that actually makes me really emotional, because I've heard different things when you've shared it on your, you know, Facebook and stuff. And thank you for just being so honest and sharing that. And, you know, just, it's almost like, thank you, Sham, you know, and I'm sure if he's hearing this, it's just like, you know, he's so proud of you. So, and it's just, yeah, it's such a lovely way and a lens to put on it, in that sense of, you know, as a result of him being in your life, what's going on. And Sylvia, actually, you've said it in a beautiful way. The legacy of your husband moves through your client's success. And
it's so nice. And I'm so proud of him as well, because so people probably won't know this, but he was like a bilateral amputee. So he didn't have any, like, lower, below the knee. And when I met him, he had one leg. And his attitude towards life, his attitude towards it, like, nothing can stop him. And then in 2019, he had to get the second leg amputated. And of course, I was like, oh my God, how's he going to survive? And he's like, I will be behind the bar by Christmas. And I'll tell you what, it wasn't Christmas, because I think lockdown and everything hit, and it was hard to get the physio and everything. But I'll tell you, even without the physio, he was up and about in such little time, and he was like so independent. And, you know, for most of us, I don't think any of us can imagine, you know, having our legs amputated or going through that kind of massive change in your life. And And you just like with him, you just think, God, his attitude was so good. It kind of rubs off on you as well. And you just think, you know, nothing, if he was unstoppable, then we should all, be, right?
What a beautiful influence you've had in your life, and the knock-on effect, and even just you sharing his story, it does, it makes you think, like, how many excuses do we actually make for ourselves when it comes to, us, our business, all of those kind of things. And sort of coming to wrap it up, what three things would you share with, we've got some business owners, entrepreneurs, founders listening in right now, or in the replay. What three things would you, knowing what you've gone through in the 10 years and building what you've built, the achievements that you've got, if somebody now was starting their own business, or continuing it through their own personal brand, because a lot of this has been done because of you, as the decisions you make, the values you have, and the leadership that you've influenced and stuff. What three things would you like to share with people that they can implement, do, think about, that will help them?
I think the first thing is that kind of proof of concept thing. I think you can have like the best idea in the world that might help you, but does it really fill the gap, serve a purpose? Will other people adopt it? I think that market research and knowing, if something will fly is really important. The second thing is, it could be the best invention or product or service in the world. If nobody knows about it, you're not going to get any sales, right?
Yeah,
So you absolutely have to shout about it. And I think that's where a lot of us maybe get stuck, is we're not comfortable talking about stuff. They're not necessarily comfortable showing up online. I'm not comfortable, to be honest.
You do it very well.
But I don't love it. I actually love having conversations. I'm much better at interview. But if I have to go and do like a Facebook Live by myself, I'm really in my own head, even after 10 years. Like, but you kind of have to do it, because otherwise, how are people going to know?
Yeah, and I guess it's that element of, well, actually, this isn't about me. This is about the impact of what can happen as a result of taking this action.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's about them ultimately, but you still have to show up. And lots of people are scared to. And it's just, I guess, get comfortable with being uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Right. Because people need to know. And the third thing is, for me, what's really worked is always coming from a place of service. Like, none of this is really about me. It's about, what can we do for you? What can we help you do for yourself? Hey Gorgeous isn't about me. It's about these amazing entrepreneurs. We have like 100. We have like 8,000 people coming through the doors at the weekend. It's about them and how they can access stuff that they can't necessarily get on the high street. It's all about them. It's not about me. When we do our Hey Gorgeous exhibitions, we will help. We will, create the WhatsApp group. They'll talk about, what PDQ machines they use. Harry will come on. She'll tell them the do's and don'ts of setting up a stall. We'll help. Like, where can we help? Where can we help you elevate? And I think, and I think that's the reason why Hey Gorgeous is such a popular exhibition. It's not just that you get lots of people buying your stuff, it's that you have an experience that really helps in your business long term. Where can you serve long term? Where can you, it's that kind of thing. Same with Luxurist. It's like, we want a platform where people that are amazing can be showcased. And we have so many amazing people in our community. And what they do is they inspire other people. So they inspire the readers to know that, they can create something. They can make something out of nothing. They can go be on The Apprentice. They can go be on Love Island. They can, they can save money. They can look at their legacy planning. There's stuff for everybody that will help them in their lives. And I think when you come from that space of service, I think it really does elevate everything that you do.
Yeah,
Not only for
absolutely.
yourself, but for the people that you're serving. And it's so important.
Yeah, and that really aligns with something that I believe in, is which is, your brand is a vehicle to serve, grow, and impact. And
Yes.
when we can come from that place, it changes the state and the trajectory of where and what can actually happen. And you're absolute proof of that. And to add in one more thing, as you were talking, that belief in what you do is huge as well, because you can create and think about, okay, I've got this product and service, do you believe in it enough
You
to
have
want to
to.
then put it out there and stuff? And I think there is that connection of belief has to be really strong. And it comes back to your point of, go and speak to people, get that MVP, or, go and test it out, because that's where you start building confidence and belief that, oh, it does work with so and so. And it's not just an idea in my head, I've delivered it, I've got the evidence of proof and all of that kind of thing. And you continue to evolve it in that sense.
Yeah, and all those little tweaks. I think a mutual friend was is doing an event, and the messaging is changed following our
Right.
discussion.
Yes. Yeah.
What
Yeah.
an impact! What an
Yes.
impact! Just by talking to a group of people that are in that space and really listening to the advice. And what I liked about what I like about people like that is that they're not in their own ego thinking that they know everything already. And you can't
Yeah.
be. You have to be willing to listen. And yeah, you might not take everything on you, you might not agree with everything, but there's so many nuggets of what other people, the other perspectives. What I was talking about earlier is perspectives. They're not only important when you're communicating outwards, but when you're bringing things inwards. All these perspectives can really make an impact on what you're delivering. And so being in that group of people,
Yeah.
no matter who it is, those trusted, other entrepreneurs and stuff, it's so important. It
100%.
really does make a huge difference to your business. And like I said, I was in that group as well, and I got some advice, and I was like, yeah, you know what, I'm going to do this. Because sometimes you can sit in a 3-hour meeting, but you get one tiny little piece of advice and it changes your game exponentially. So
Absolutely.
always listen, and always be attentive.
Yeah. I'm a big believer of, people need people.
They
Uh,
do.
and, just coming back to that point as well, no matter whether you've been in business 6 months, 5 years, 25 years, but to still go in with that inquiry mind of like, and not that I know it all mind just because, I've had the experience for 20 plus years. I think that's also a game changer of, because, then you get to hear things that you potentially then could be closed to because you think you know it all. So I think there's real value in that as well.
But the experience doesn't even matter so much because the world is changing so fast. I mean, we've all got the same experience of AI. You could be in business like 20 years. It's maybe only the last 3 years you've been exposed to it. And even then, if you haven't taken it on and you haven't been, present to what you're doing because you think you know it all, you're going to miss something. And
Yeah.
so even if you've had lots and lots of experience in what you're doing, there's always things externally that are going to be coming at you. And you have
Exactly.
to be on top of them. And it's so important to be with those people that are in the know.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Wonderful. Right, I'm going to finish off with one last question. It's kind of a double prong question. One, because as I mentioned earlier, I love working with legacy-minded founders, who want to take that conscious responsibility and be that brand to serve, grow the vehicle to serve, grow, and impact. So I want to know, what does legacy mean for you, and how are you going about shaping tomorrow today?
Oh, so yeah, legacy for me is your impact on the world. And the world could be one person's world, and it could be the whole world. It could be anything. If you've made a difference to even just one person in your life, you've left a legacy. And I'm sure a lot of people listening have probably made legacies without even knowing it.
Yeah.
Right. what I want for tomorrow. So when we came from East Africa, I'm going back to like 50 years ago now, sorry. I think when we came from East Africa, especially my Smiley community, we tried so hard to assimilate that I think we lost a little, bits of our culture and our traditions, and which is why I needed recommendation. Weirdly, it's not. I didn't create it for anyone any more than I created it for myself. I didn't know how to put a sari on.
Yeah, it started from pleats,
Literally,
right?
that's literally why it started. And and then it was like, where can you get eggless cakes? Where can you get this? Where can you get that? It's that kind of thing. And so what I want for tomorrow is what I think recommendation is doing now is getting that peer advice about our traditions, our culture. And when I say our, there's no Muslim, Sikh, Hindu, there's no like Pakistani, Indian, Bangladeshi. It is just like a South Asian shared culture. And I think tomorrow, I don't want to see things like Kathak disappear, even though I don't know how to do it. Like, I can watch it. Like, I don't want to see like artists disappear. I don't want to see like at the moment there's such a like people like Pravesh and Rifko are just putting plays on that are like South Asian inspired, and there's comedians that are South Asian. I don't want to see those arts disappear into some kind of homogenous culture. Like, I'd really like to see our artists, our food, our culture, our tradition preserved. And so that's what I want recommendation to carry on doing. And even if it means fusion, even if it means your ras malai cake, badam pista donuts or whatever. Fusion is good too, right? Because we can carry on evolving. But I just want to see, I just don't want my kids to kind of not understand. And I don't want their kids to not know where we come from. What do we believe? How do we interact? What are our traditions?
And look, you've done a fantastic job of shaping tomorrow today from 10 years ago. So I want to wish you continued success, just that beautiful impact that you're making. And, just thank you for doing what you're doing and believing in what you're doing. And I know you said there's also a team, so thank you to all of them, but you are leading this and you've done a wonderful job, so thank you for all that you
and thank you, because obviously 10 years, it's been a long time since I've known you. I've always admired what you do. I've been in your like group sessions. You're amazing at what you do. Your emails are definitely ones that I don't unsubscribe to because they're always somehow, and I don't know how you do it, you always seem to add value and say something that is like that resonates, and you're like, Aarti really knows what she's talking about. So you know what, thank you, because what you do is help people be more comfortable with their personal brand, help them be more visible, help them think about things that they might not have thought about before. And so without people like you, there wouldn't be such strong brand recognition for a lot of people that you work with. So thank you.
Appreciate that. Thank you so much, and thank you to everybody that joined us today. Before I say bye, Zam, where can people get in touch with you? Where can they follow you? Do you have anything that you'd like to share that's coming up, or where you'd like them to come to? Just
sure. Obviously, the groups are on Facebook, so Professional Asian and Recommendation. You just search them in the groups tab, and you're very welcome to join and see what you think and experience, and see what amazing businesses and people there are in our community. And then on Instagram, I've got
any more events coming up.
Yes, I've got Hey Gorgeous on the 28th and 29th of March. Literally 110 exhibitors.
Wow.
Food, lifestyle, beauty, clothes, jewelry. It's like ideal home show for brown people.
And you get a good taste of culture and all sorts, right?
You do. And you know what's nice is you get to meet the people behind the business. You get to see the personal brands, which is an important for branding, is it not, brand strategist and coach?
Yes, of course it is. And it's going to do way more than ChatGPT can. So, you know, when you meet people in person, that's where the real kind of personality, essence, and authenticity comes in, right? And that's so.
And you see their passion. You would see the provenance of what they or what they've created or where they've got it from, and it's just like it's next level, honestly. So yes, please come to Hey Gorgeous at Byron Hall. Free tickets at heygorgeous.events.
There we go. There we go. Right. That's it then. Thank you so much for giving up your time today and sharing and being so generous in sharing. And thank you to everybody that joined us and also watching the replay, shall I say. All right. Take care. Have a great weekend.
Thank
Bye.
you, everyone. Bye.